Hi, everyone. I am Linda Welbrock, the founder of Leading Women Entrepreneurs and the Force for Change Awards. And we have such an interesting, impactful guest with us today. I'd like to welcome Melissa Stosic, who is the Vice President of Medical Affairs at DotLab. Congratulations, Melissa, on all of your hard work. We can't wait to honor you. And I'd like to start with just explaining a little bit about what DotLab is.
Yeah, great. Good morning, Linda. Thanks for having me. So DotLab is a female-founded company that is trying to change the diagnostic odyssey for women with endometriosis. So it's a non-invasive blood test using microRNAs as markers to identify women who are likely to have endometriosis, and it's a diagnostic tool that providers can use in order to identify those women. And the reason it's important is because the current standard of care for diagnosing endometriosis is laparoscopy, which, although minimally invasive, is surgery under anesthesia. And because of that, the mean time from first symptom to diagnosis is actually between 4 and 10 years. So DotLab is in the business of trying to change that.
Well, I can speak from personal experience because I suffered from endometriosis and I had the surgery, and
Yep.
it was a very emotional time for a lot of reasons. And it's so refreshing to hear that, you've come up with this innovation to help women in those early childbearing years when it's especially most crucial. So thank you for your work.
Yeah, such a common story. So
yes.
Excited to be a part of it.
3 kids now, but it was a long journey.
Yeah.
What brought you from being a clinical genetic counselor to the path you've followed in both the research industry?
Yeah, so I started as a clinical genetic counselor, and while I loved seeing patients, I wanted to have a bigger impact, or as big an impact as I could make. And at that time, the provider I was working with at Columbia was starting a new research study looking at a diagnostic tool for women having invasive testing during pregnancy to check for genetic disorders. And so I worked for about 5 years on that NICHD-funded study, which with this amazing group of physicians and site coordinators and data centers was able to change the standard of care for women having amniocentesis or CVS from karyotype to microarray. And that is something that's still around today and people are utilizing. But not every woman has an invasive diagnostic procedure. So when that study ended, I had been fortunate enough to be privy to the technology at Natera, which is a non-invasive prenatal test for all pregnant women looking for chromosome abnormalities. And I decided to jump on board that mission and helped all the really fantastic people and the amazing technology there launch off. And my role there was helping them to put together the clinical package, but also to educate providers across the world because it was a brand new technology. So I got to travel everywhere, but also spread the word about new NIPT, which of course now is everywhere. And when I was done with Natera, really because my time as a mom really dedicated that I be home a little bit more. I wanted to be more involved. So I decided to go back to academia at Columbia. I worked in reproductive genetics there to help that get off the ground and in OBGYN. And then DotLab came along, and it was another interesting opportunity to be a part of a startup to change the standard of care to help testing where there isn't currently any options that are non-invasive. And that seemed like a really perfect fit for my journey. And I really believe in the mission and in women's healthcare. And so it seemed like the right move for me.
Absolutely. Well, again, as a mom and as someone who's had a lot of experience in the world that you're trying to change, I just really appreciate your work. But I would like to ask you how being a mom has affected your journey, because of course, for all of us, balancing all these roles, it's always interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely something that has been hard for me to navigate, and just figuring out what's the right fit for me. There's no, right answer for anybody. So for me, I was working in California and living in New York City and had a 1.5-year-old, and got to a point where I felt like I love my job, I love the company, I love the mission, but I'm feeling not fulfilled all the way as a mom. And so how can I change that while still giving myself a career that I really wanted and feeling fulfilled in that space as well. So I decided to go back to Columbia, and that allowed me to work from home a couple of days a week and go in the office, but be home for dinner every night, never travel, once or twice a week. At one point for Natera, it was traveling 100 or 150,000 miles a year. And so to take a step back from that and be more present, but still giving what I needed to give from the career side of my brain and my heart to genetics, I was able to do that at Columbia. And so now my journey for DotLab, the lab is local and I'm remote, as many people are during the time of COVID. So that's been really nice to be able to continue that and be here, but also I love to work and to be involved in genetics and women's health. So to be able to get to do both is really great for me.
Yeah, it's such an interesting time too with the virtual. In some ways, it's made it easier, but in other ways, I might have a kid coming onto this interview at
any moment. Yeah,
dog or somebody else. So
absolutely,
it's been really fun getting into everybody's basically homes, especially the past year and a half. All the Zooms are very personal. So and it's
absolutely
it's broken down some barriers. So for that, everybody's been in the same place. Okay, I want to ask you one more question about the course the genetics course that you co-founded. How did that come about?
Yeah, so along the way, I met with two providers, Dr. Ron Wapner and Dr. Mary Norton, and a fellow genetic counselor, Janice Edwards. And we really wanted to start a genetics course for maternal fetal medicine fellows, because the fellowship is just so busy and the amount of genetics may not be what some of them desire to learn in terms of quantity. And so we are working with a lot of speakers and physicians and genetic counselors who so graciously provide their time and their expertise. And we launched an 8-week course, which is online and allows fellows to take it at their leisure, learn from lectures, hands-on workshops, and genetic counseling cases. And this past year, we had the first full online. So previously it was in person and a smaller group, but given COVID, we decided to move it online. And that also allowed us to expand the reach of it. And so the past year, we had over 100 fellows who participated in the 8-week course and got great feedback. We're excited to continue it and hopefully enhance that to also REI, reproductive endocrinology fellows as well. So that's been really rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. I mean, you're coming at this from both sides, from the consumer and the medical doctors, and I can't wait to see the impact that you make. We can't wait to celebrate you on October 28th as a top 25 leading woman entrepreneur or intrapreneur. And again, I just want to congratulate you for all of your hard work and dedication to this extremely important matter. And I hope that our platform basically showcases this information to many, many women who need it. So again, thank you, Melissa.
Absolutely. Thanks, Linda.